404Tastrophe. This story takes place after the Puppet series. One day while 404 was relaxing in his HQ with Seraphim, the mainframe pool began to buzz and glitch out like crazy. Whoa, that's probably not good. 404 said as he then used his blaster to cover the hole, but to no avail. The mainframe simply just engulfed it entirely, swallowing it whole. Well shit, that's a problem, 404 said with worry as he then walked over to the large pool and stared into it. Now what could possibly be the matter with you now? 404 thought to himself, could it be loading? Or maybe even tin? No point, this problem wasn't gonna get solved in a night, so 404 and Seraphim decided to doing testing on it all day long until Error got back, saw the situation and then proceeded to leave entirely. 404 After a strenuous couple of hours, 404 gave up and sat down exhausted and beat. Damn this. Even after all these years I still don't know jack shit on how to work this thing, 404 said with a tired tone as he then looked towards the mainframe pool, studying it with his eyes. Until suddenly some of the mainframe shot out its code directly at 404 since he was the closet thing to it. 404 shouted before being struck by the code being sent flying back. Seraphim tried to grab at it to protect its master, but unfortunately upon touching it Seraphim shut down completely and was blasted away into the distance and over the waterfall of code. 404 continued to scream and squirm as the mainframe continued to zap and stab him with code until finally 404 was filled with too much in blue, pink, red and green, all shooting out of his eyes with large orbs then bursting out of his chest and into the field in front of him. 404 After a couple of minutes of being unconscious, he soon began to wake up to the sound of arguing and yelling. As he got up he saw the 4 different colored versions of himself all arguing with each other. 404 looked in complete shock as he saw these other entities that looked and sounded like him, and once 404 saw it he had noticed that he was completely pale and devoid of color and saturation. 404 shouted as he got up, in which all the other 404 suddenly looked at normal 404 with a shocked and mixed expressions. OMG, look, he's getting up. Ooh woo, said the pink 404 in a giddy and giggly manner, while the red 404 simply stared at him with a blank yet pissed expression, and the blue 404 just looked down at the ground completely sad and depressed. Now isn't this just peachy? Seems we finally got out of that stupid head of yours. Why? Green 404 said as he wiped his nose and started down normal 404, who just looked at everyone in confusion. How is this possible? I was told that the existence of other 404s was an improbability, 404 said as he looked at them back and forth. Well, we're here now, aren't we? Shouted the red 404 with a loud and dominant tone. Suddenly 404 fell to his knees as he could feel his soul getting weaker. 404 then summoned his soul in front of him and saw the undeniable truth. His soul was now being overcome with not just the mainframe, but also from the anti-void now taking its effect. Shit! 404 shouted in his head as he then looked to his new copies, or perhaps different halves of himself. This is definitely cause of the mainframe. Whatever rotten and horrid thing it's done is now killing me due to no longer having my protection. If I don't get these guys back in me, this could be it, 404 said to himself as he then got up and stared down his other halves. Oh boy, I don't like that face, said the pink 404 giggling, while the others stared back at 404. Planning to put us back? Well, we don't plan on going back inside your head. It's so boring and there are stupid strips all over the place. Not to mention those 2 demons you got in there are no fun, shouted the green 404 as he then used some alternate form of blue mastery to lift up 404 and slam him to the ground like a ragdoll, son of a dash. 404 thought to himself before he shot a god ray at green 404, paralyzing him and causing him to stop. Not on my watch. Red 404 shouted as he teleported straight to 404, kicking him in the mouth and then jumping up and slamming his head into the ground. You think just because your life sucks you can do that for everyone else, huh? Well, you're dead wrong. Red 404 said as he kept going on and on about how horrible 404 was, only for 404 to then use bones to stab into his feet, keeping him in place and holding him long enough to use a dark blaster to send him flying into green 404. I hate my life, 404 mumbled to himself as he got up and began to stretch. This absurd. Damn it, Shad's really gone too far this time. How the hell am I supposed to beat 4 different versions of myself while being drained, dying at a rapid pace and being weakened? This is a load of BS, I tell ya, 404 said as he then summoned several dark blasters. Good. I have enough strength to do this, 404 said as he then looked at his colored doppelgangers. Oh shit, what do we do now? With green paralyzed we can't stay here too long or it's over for us. Blue. 404 shouted T. Son of a, then we ditch his ass. Come on, let's get out of here. Red. 404 said as all the 404s except for green vanished out of there. 404 scoffed and then put his blasters away. Damn cowards, so much for honor I guess, 404 said as he then walked over to green 404 and lifted him up with his blue mastery. Now do I get you back in me without screwing this up any more than it already is? 404 began to think to himself as he stared at the green-tinted version of himself. Download him back into your subconscious, said a voice shocking 404. 404's head turned slowly toward the mainframe pool where he saw Loading's head peeking out and staring at him. So you stalking me now? 404 said with a straight face. No, I'm just making sure I don't need to be chasing down 4 of you when I just need one. Loading said as he continued to keep his distance. I see, 404 said as he then looked at the green version of himself and began to absorb the code back into himself, only for it then sending him flying backwards, sliding across the ground afterwards. Oh damn it, why'd that hurt so much? 404 groaned as he lied on the floor and tried getting up. Look at you. You look so pathetic lying there, Loading said with his usual grin. Wanna help me up? 404 asked. No, Loading replied as he then looked up when something caught his eye. Got you, motherfucker. Error shouted as a blaster shot at Loading. But Loading sunk into the mainframe pool, dodging it entirely. Damn it, did I get his ass or what? Error shouted as he landed. Heal, Error. Me and Loading were just talking, 404 said as he got up. Weakly talking? After all the BS he's pulled on us. No way, sir, I forbid it. Error said as he then noticed 404's weakened state, as he then summoned a bone near him for 404 to lean on. Sir. Error said with slight worry. I'm fine, boy. Loading is doing me no harm, in fact. He helped me on how to solve a problem of mine. 404 said as he then leaned on the bone Error provided for him. What's going on? Error asked as 404 then began to explain what had happened and what was going on, and even already started thinking of a plan to fix it. Well, geez, sir. Does trouble always seem to find you? Or is it on days when I'm busy you decide to do some weird shit like this? Error said sarcastically despite 404's face of disapproval. You two done gawking at each other, or are you gonna stop those alternate versions before they ruin whatever little of a reputation you have left? Loading said as he then sunk into the mainframe pool, disappearing. Error and 404 stared a bit dumbfounded by Loading's lead of heroism here. But then their eyes were directed towards each other, which Error noticed the condition 404 was in, and 404 looked at Error, who was far more healthier than he was, and without saying a word the two knew what had to happen. After a couple minutes of preparing, Error soon got on his feet and prepared himself. Alright boy, this is gonna be your biggest task yet. For now, you need to go and hunt down these replicas and use this buff I'll give you to download them onto this USB program. And then give them to me, 404 said as he sat down on a bridge step. So you want me to go out and find these alternate versions of you? What if they prove too much? Error asked with little confidence as he then looked at his hands. Don't worry, I'll be giving you my blue mastery. However, you only have a few chances to use it since it will crush your soul from the restraint of how much skill and comprehension it takes to use. 404 said as he then hovered his hands over Error's. Don't mess this up or you're good as dead, boy. 404 said as he then sat back down. Putting your faith in that boy is the worst mistake you've ever made. Loading said as his head poked out of the mainframe pool, to which Error looked at him in annoyance while 404 just kept sitting down leaning against the bridge for strength. Error then looked down and thought to himself, was this what the future would be like? That without 404, he wouldn't be able to do anything on his own? He soon began to wonder if 404 aiding him was a crutch or a privilege. Just watch, Error said as he then got ready to leave. You surprise me, boy, you're actually gonna do it? You're gonna go out and face off against the alternate variations of your own master. Shall I write down fool upon your tombstone? Loading asked sarcastically as Error then looked back slightly at 404, who didn't say anything. Just watch, Error repeated in his head as he left HQ. As soon he left, Error then summoned his blaster and fired it into the distance, shouting at the top of his lungs, God damn you. Just you watch, old geezer. I'll show you that I can do this on my own. This won't be like last time. I'll show you both that I can do this on my own dash. But just as Error was gonna finish his sentence, a giant sludge of ink falls right onto him. This truly is the worst, Error mumbled under his breath with his teeth grinding against each other in full force as he then looked up to see his worst and most aggravating nightmare. Ink floating above him in midair. Hey Glitchy. Why do you look so pissed today? Something wrong? Did you finally figure out why Swap is a homosexual? Ink said. Ink, will you just leave me? Wait, what? Error said as he looked at Ink in confusion. What? Was it something I said? Ink replied, only for Error to start walking away. Whatever, weirdo. Leave me alone, I'm busy. Get in my way and you get erased, Error said as he then began to look at his hand. I need to track down these 404s, but if they're anything like him then I should be able to sense them even from across the multiverse. Error thought to himself as he then began to focus on different codes and energies throughout the multiverse, searching for his master's colorful rejects. As 404 lay down on the white grass, he felt a presence arrive. As he turned towards it, he saw Blue, 404, sit down in front of him. What the hell are you doing here? Error supposed to be hunting you down, 404 said with a shaky voice. Absorb it now before it goes away. Loading shouted. And oh, I want to hear what it has to say, 404 said as he looked towards Blue. 404. You feel lost, afraid and more importantly guilty, said Blue. 404 said in a calm and yet sorrowful manner, with 404 not responding at all and Loading just watching. You want to die, but you don't want to disappoint anyone. You don't want to ruin what's left of who you are, Blue. 404 said. 404 simply looked away as Blue. 404 spoke his words of sorrow. 404 then looked back at Blue. 404 and grabbed him with his blue magic and prepared to absorb him. Doing away with me now won't change how you feel, Blue. 404 said with sorrow. Yeah, but I'd rather not get reminded of how I feel when I live it enough. 404 said as he then absorbed Blue. 404 with ease as he then regained his strength to stand. 404 jumped up and down and threw a few punches in the air, with Loading watching idly by as he did so. 404 shook his head as he suddenly hallucinations of the astral mother. He looked up and saw her standing over him with a wide dark grin with a completely pitch-black eye. 404 then wiped his eyes, causing the hallucination to disappear. Looks like you have one left. You should go after it before I change my mind, Loading said as he began to sink back into the mainframe pool. Thanks again, Loading, your help is appreciated, uwu. 404 said with a sarcastic tone, making Loading cringe and then sink back through. Well, I know what I'm not doing again, after 404 said as he then fell to one knee. What the hell is happening? 404 said with his weakened breath as suddenly a wormhole opened in front of him. He looked up to see Omni walk out of it and towards him. Omni then looked down at 404 and picked him up by his neck. Ares. 404 tried to say, but Omni just kept staring at him with this killing intent as he began to crush his neck with his strength. Suddenly, however, two large black hands grabbed Omni, trapping him. 404 fell to the ground and looked over to see Loading again helping him. This makes two, you gonna owe me big this time, will, Loading said with his casual smirk. 404 scoffed as he looked up at the large hands as lightning poured and jolted out of them. Go, get back to that boy. He should be nearly finished by now. Go, Loading said as he kept holding Omni and allowing 404 to escape. Once 404 was gone, Loading let Omni go, in which Omni immediately shot out and sliced Loading to ribbons and shreds. Omni watched as Loading code bits only reformed themselves, remaking Loading as he was. Want to try that again? Loading asked in a deep, intimidating voice. Only if you get in my way again, Omni replied. What do you want with 404? Loading asked. It doesn't involve you, coded creature. Now leave me to my business, Omni said as he left, only for Loading to bring him back via changing his teleportation route to come back here. You're not going anywhere without answering my questions first, Loading said. You don't want me as an enemy creature, Omni said as lightning began to encase his body, sending bolts past Loading, who seemed unfazed. I'd rather not fight you, especially after you helped save this reality, Loading said. Then why are you stopping me, Omni said. 'Cause you're not answering my questions, Loading replied. It doesn't concern you, as I said, Omni said. Will beating the answer out of you give me what I want? Loading asked with a chuckle. Omni simply looked over at him as his power grew more and more. Loading then signed as the mainframe began to coil around him. If it's a battle you want to so bad, then I'll give you one. But I warn you, I'm unstoppable like this close to the mainframe. But seeing how you beat that winged demon before, I reckon facing off against gods is your specialty, Loading chuckled. Islathorn, give me 35%, Omni asked. Right off the bat, who? You must be desperate, Islathorn said in Omni's head as he powered up Omni, resulting in a large thunderstorm to occur around Omni. If I don't stop malware with whatever he's planning with Will, it could result in disastrous consequences for all of the 10 realities. Omni replied as he and Loading faced each other, ready to battle for the answers to the truths they so desperately wanted. Far off on the other side of the multiverse, 404 teleported over to Error's location only to see him getting thrashed by Red. 404, who also had infected, suspended up in the air with only his head being what is left. You dare stop my revenge? I will not allow for no one to get in my way of destroying this filth and annihilating everything and everyone ever associated with him. Red! 404 shouted as he then saw 404 walking over towards them. Red! 404 slammed Infected's skull to the ground and threw Error into the distance as he flew down T-404. Look at all this. I have done what you never could in 1,000 years. I am the superior emotion. I am the most 404 you will ever be. Red! 404 shouted as he stared down 404. But 404 didn't say anything and just kept looking at him. What's the matter? No comebax. No stupid mature humor to say. No pathetic life lessons to share? Nothing. Red! 404 screamed out, cracking his voice a bit. But 404 kept silent. Why don't you speak? Speak to Red! 404 then crashed, completely causing a giant message to appear on his head. Sorry for the unfortunate crash. Your program will restart and will resume soon. Thank you for your patience. Sad thing is I can't even be mad, 404 said as he then used Blue Mastery and absorbed Red. 404 completely. 404 then shook his arms as he looked over to Error and then flying to him. Nice work, boy, you lasted far longer than I expected, 404 said with sarcasm. Nice, still have that, 404 remarked as Error got up. Nice, Gad, you still have the capability to be a dick. Now how about you learn to stop touching weird black shit? Error said, pissed as he got up and then used his strings to make himself a cast for his arm. 404 chuckled as he then looked over at Infected's skull and saw it healing itself. 404 then walked over to it and lifted it off the ground with Blue Mastery and opened a portal, throwing it into a random AU. You're not gonna kill him? Error said. No, besides I couldn't sense his soul. He most likely knew something was wrong and assessed the situation. He's crazy but not stupid. 404 said, in which him and Error looked at each other for a brief moment. Okay, yeah, he's stupid, 404 said, correcting himself, in which Error then signed. Hey, you did a great job, 404 said with a smile. Don't lie to me. Stop saying that shit when I already know how you feel about me. Error shouted as he turned away with an angered face. What did that other me tell you? 404 said with worry. He told me how much you hated me, how much you wish you choose ink instead, how much of a disappointment I always am and how and... Error looked down as one tear fell down his face. 404 looked at Error with a face of regret over what he had heard. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. If you think for 1 second, old man, that I ever give a shit about what you think, you're dead fucking wrong. Error said as he spit on the ground near 404's feet. I only care about one thing and one thing only. And that's me beating your ass and becoming that best destroyer this multiverse and this reality has ever seen. Error said as his hands shook from frustration. You will be, 404 said. What did you say? Error said, looking at him. I said you will be, but you don't need me to tell you that. 'Cause I already see that in you already, Gino, 404 said with a warm smile. Damn it, don't say shit like that, don't be nice to me. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. What the hell, am I kidding? I have no doubt that if you weren't in my life, I'd dash. But before Error could finish his thought, Omni and Loading appeared out of thin air, looking exhausted and tired. Whoa, what the hell? Error shouted in shock as he got his blaster, and Loading got another attack ready, and Omni got ready to hurl a large lightning bolt. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Can everybody just chill? 404 shouted, getting everyone's attention. Ares, can you please calm yourself? 404 shouted. Wait, that's Ares. Error shouted in shock. I don't care who's who. Someone is gonna be getting banned if I don't get answers to the situation happening now. Loading shouted. How many more? Omni said. Omni then looked over towards 404. He then hurled his bolt of lightning at him, But in a moment of quick thinking, Error used his strings to pull 404 out of the way of the attack, causing it to miss. "Thanks, boy," 404 said in relief. "Don't mention it," Error replied. "Shoot," Omni said in a moment of annoyance, only for Loading to fire a large red beam at him, sending Omni flying backwards. Loading then looked back as Error used his strings to lift 404 off the ground. "I'm just doing this that way there isn't more trouble for me," Loading told himself as he floated over to 404 and Error. "You idiots still coddling each other?" Loading said. "What was that?" Error shouted in anger. "Thanks again, Loading. I owe you a match after this," 404 said with a smirk. Forget it, just leave me out of your family quarrels and I won't need shit from you," Loading said as he turned away. Hey, I hate to break up this family shit, but he's getting up again," Error said, pointing over to Omni, who was getting back up. "This guy is ridiculously persistent," Loading said as he got ready to fight again. "Yeah, hey Loading, do me a favor and get the boy out of here, me and Aries need to chat for a bit," 404 asked. "Whatever. I'm not your personal train station. Come on brat, let William deal with his family bullshit," Loading said as he then grabbed Error by the head, lifting him up. "Hey! Old man, you better not die. That's a fate I owe you," Error shouted at 404, who just smiled back. "Yeah, I know," 404 said as Loading and Error teleported away. Just as 404 turned around, Omni was already in front of him getting ready to attack, but 404 rolled out of the way in time to avoid the attack. 404 and Omni then got their feet and stared each other down. "You know, I was always curious on why you did what you did, on why you were so distant from me, Adam, and everyone else, but I think I can solve that one for myself now," 404 said as he and Omni circled each other. "You have no idea of what I have to do for this, so don't come to me with this idea that you're somehow better than me," Omni said as he stared at 404. "Didn't take you for the jealous type, he." 404 chuckled, only for Omni's third eye to twitch as Omni then blitzed towards 404, sending him flying back and chasing after him. 404 then turned around as he went flying and then began to fly upwards, avoiding Omni's blitz attack again. 404 began to send a large barrage of attacks Omni's way, to which he dodged them all. 404 then fired 10 dark blasters at Omni, in which Omni then began to fly out of the way. But 404 used blue mastery on the beams, making them follow after Omni. Omni noticed began to move faster, gaining distance on the attacks heading his way entirely. "Damn, how the hell is he so fast? He didn't show anything like this back home," 404 said as Omni then blitzed right behind him. "Shit," 404 said as Omni then slammed his leg on top of 404's skull, sending him shooting straight towards the ground instantly. 404 teleported at the last second, reappearing horizontally, allowing for him to land on his feet. "Islathorn, give me 25%, Omni asked as he suddenly was boosted extremely with immense power and covered with lightning as he then blitzed right towards 404, who also began to fly towards him. Omni then went for a punch, but just as he did, his hand hit an invisible wall and 404 hit his head against it too. However, it looked like the two had connected and yet something still was in between them. "What the hell?" 404 said as he back up along with Omni too, only to see Alphatail.exe come into the fourth dimension, allowing for them to see it. Was it on a different dimensional plane just now? Omni asked himself. "You're worried about that, but I'm wondering what the hell it is to begin with," 404 shouted in shock, confusion, fascination, and fear. "This isn't a game." Alpha-tailed.exe shouted in William and Jacob's voices, spooking and scaring Omni and 404 shitless. "WW was that?" 404 said as he began to glitch out intensely along with the rest of the multiverse around them. "That was Jacob's voice. How do you know of my brother creature?" Omni shouted, only for Alpha-tailed.exe to summon hundreds of small souls that each began to fire reality beams, one of them hitting 404, destroying him instantly. Omni watched in horror as he then began to run full speed away while Islathorn 1000000% Alpha-tailed.exe said in a glitchy voice, trying to mimic Omni's. Alpha-tailed.exe then was covered completely in black and white glitchy lighting as it began to move faster than anything could ever comprehend. Omni looked back only to see it still there, and as he turned around was rammed into by Alpha-tailed.exe. Omni jumped off it only to have fusions of Chara and the Astral Mother come out and grab at him, trying to pull him down into Alpha-tailed.exe. Omni began to get broken down and destabilized as Alpha-tailed.exe's code began to absorb and fuse itself with Omni, causing Omni immense pain. "Islathorn 100% now," Omni screamed as he then turned into lightning itself and managed to get away, avoiding and dodging all the reality beams he could. Renaming file omnipotent. Sans. Excel. Ars Aries. Renaming file complete. Alphatail.exe said in a complete robotic version of Brim and Yasmirian's voice. With that command, Omni then turned back into his old child self, Aries.
No va allí.
Aries screamed as he began to plummet to the ground. Alphatail.exe then began to race towards him, and at the last second Aries was caught by 404, who had completely regenerated. Gotcha, that was a close one. That thing almost gotcha, didn't it? 404 said as he looked at Aries on his back. Will? But how I saw it blast you to pieces, Aries said with shock. Yeah, well, whatever it's doing to reality is causing things to go haywire, which means time probably isn't functioning the same as it once did. Any idea what the hell this thing even is? 404 asked with shaky breath. I have no clue. This thing runs off of some otherworldly source of power. I don't recognize it from the transvoid or any of its attacks at all. Not to mention those voices and things it can do. Aries said. 404 looked back at him and then down to Alphatail.exe as it began to make loud beeps and boops, messing with fiction itself as things began to disappear and reappear. // // // / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / / slash forward 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 slash dash forward slash dash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash straight face forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash dash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash straight face forward slash 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 dash forward slash 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 dash forward slash 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 dash forward slash 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 dash forward slash dash forward slash 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 dash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash dash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash dash forward slash dash forward slash dash forward slash 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 straight face forward slash dash forward slash forward slash forward slash forward slash slash forward slash straight face slash forward slash straight face slash dash forward slash dash slash forward slash forward slash slash forward slash dash slash forward slash dash slash forward slash forward slash dash slash forward slash straight face forward slash slash forward slash dash it forward slash dash slash forward slash forward slash dash forward slash dash dash slash forward slash dash forward slash dash forward slash straight face forward slash slash forward slash dash slash dash forward slash dash forward slash slash dash forward slash slash forward slash forward slash forward slash forwards a forward slash slash forward slash forward slash forward slash slash dash slash forward slash forward slash slash forward slash dash slash. Alphaverse screamed in J404's and Maelsgrove's voice. Suddenly, though some large blaster fired at it, the blast simply didn't seem to register and ended up being turned into small tiny boxes with Chara's head on it. 404 was absolutely baffled by what he was seeing. "Son of a bitch!" a voice shouted, causing Ares and 404 to look over and see Alpha. Sans. "Hey you! How come you're not dead yet?" shouted Ares, in which Alpha looked up and teleported to them. "You two can see me?" Alpha said. Yeah, why can we not normally see you?" 404 asked, confused. "Who normally only pacifist AUS and folks who know of my home can see," Alpha said as he summoned his DT blade. Ares and 404 looked at each other confused before suddenly all of reality became conjoined with the white horizon and the transvoid, with the inhabitants of each merging with each other, all while Alphaverse continued to glitch out and make loud beeping and ship noises. "Any idea what the hell I'm looking at?" Alpha asked. "Well, but before Ares could talk, suddenly Alphaverse started walking on a sixth-dimensional plane of existence, as it also continued spit out random lines OD dialogue. "Spawning and infected. Excel spawning finished?" Alphaverse shouted in 404, and Alpha's voice shocking the two. Suddenly, though, infected came crashing down on top of 404 and Ares, sending them plummeting to the ground. "Hey!" Alpha shouted as he went after them. Infected began to laugh as he kicked 404 off and grabbed Ares by the head. Ha, child now. You just can't stop giving me more material to dash." But Infected stopped himself when he saw who it was. Ares!" Infected shouted in fear and confusion. "Titich, that's impossible." Infected screamed, only for 404 to slam a large blaster on his head, knocking him out. "Damn fucking monster," 404 said. "Wait, did he say Ares? Are these guys in a way? It can't be," Alpha thought to himself as he fell to his knees. "See, could that be you, William?" Alpha said to himself when suddenly Alphaverse began to charge through everyone and began going through portals and crawling through time and space. "This thing is tearing apart this entire world," Ares shouted, as he was still pissed being turned back into a toddler. "How can we beat? We can't kill, we've tried attacking it and nothing is working." 404 shouted. Alpha looked at 404 with a saddened look before seeing Alphaverse in the distance. He shook his head, realizing now wasn't the time for tears. "We'll strike it with all we have, no holding anything back," Alpha shouted as he flew towards it. "Wait, no, stop," 404 shouted, only to watch as Alpha tried to cut it in two for Brim's corrupted face to come bursting out of Alphaverse and swallow him up whole. "Oh shit," Ares said as he then looked over towards Infected. "Damn fool," 404 said as he then saw Infected regain consciousness. "Commence sitcom script," Alphaverse said in Frisk and Core's voice as it began to rearrange the dialogue of future events. "Well, if I'm dying some otherworldly being that thinks of fiction as its plaything, I might as well enjoy myself," 404 said as he then lifted up Infected and threw him towards Alphaverse, whereupon getting within 5 meters of it was deconstructed and turned into pixels to be left on the ground. "Nice," 404 said with a large smirk. "Was that really worth it?" Ares said as he too began to destabilize and then remade into a makeshift Chara made out of astral mother code fragments along with Brim and different conduits. "End of sitcom script," Alphaverse said in Soul and Samson's voice. 404 then realized what had happened. "What the hell is this? This is a nightmare," 404 screamed as he fell to his as he then looked up to see Alphaverse. Eternal Alphatale eternal is Alphatale eternal is Alphatale is Alphatale is eternal 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 Alphatale is eternal eternal is eternal Alphatale is Alphatale Alphatale eternal is Alphatale Alphatale is Alphatale Alphatale is eternal 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 is Alphatale Alphatale is Alphatale Alphatale is eternal Alphatale Alphatale is Alphatale Alphatale is eternal Alphatale eternal is Alphatale eternal is Eternal eternal is Alphatale eternal 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 Alphatale eternal 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 Is Alpha-tail is Alpha-tail 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 is Alpha-tail 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 is Alpha-tail eternal eternal Alpha-tail eternal eternal Alpha-tail eternal is Alpha-tail 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 eternal eternal Alpha-tail is eternal is eternal. Alpha-tail.exe said in God's voice as 404 just stared at him. 404's face began to break down as code fragments and microscopic souls, brims, conduits, beings and more began to fall out of every orifice of his face and his arms began to turn into small white orbs, until finally, DD Alpha-tail.exe said mimicking Mosenessen Vrisa het iki, it asw slayelt alami w woim sut kluknu that iki and erido athatrafo ht lutter and orftafo, suin redu to erfich ertile adn shtetrois mfro site nias rai. 404 then died. Alpha-tail.exe continued to deconstruct everything until nothing was left and the only thing that existed was nothing and then it got rid of nothing. Only Alpha-tail.exe remains. Only Alpha-tail remains. Alpha-tail. Fictional restart, said a melody. Nothing. 404 then woke up back at HQ. He was in a complete sweat and looked around for any signs of what had happened but found noli iap nad ryism lion ist verdolwa for 9 to siodiha. Sronetlet elalir ki berfi nad we oto wiln su ifn siripad fnailgal. Pink 404 looked at 404 from the bridge. Oh my goodness, Pink 404 said, shaking in their boots only for Alpha-tail to open a wormhole above him and suck him in. 404 looked over quickly to see what the noise was only to see nothing. Must have been the wind, 404 said as he laid back down. What was that thing? It spoke to me. It spoke to me in the voice of. 404 decided not to continue his sentence and instead lay down, shaking off the horrible dream. As 404 lay asleep, Alpha-tail.exe came from the 12th dimensional plane and stood directly behind him, leaning down and began to whisper into 404's skull. O scient si assessno hr. I via rendius teosarison, Alpha-tail.exe said in God's voice before it returned to the first dimensional plan and disappeared entirely.